Good morning. It is Jane with Scraptastic Yarns, and I think I'm finally starting to catch up a little bit. The granny squares that I was making for Betty's families, finish them. I have them pinned together to start crocheting them together. That is what I have so far on that end. The rest of it, I'll show you once I get it finished. I don't know if I'll just show you a picture of it or actually bring it in once it's finished. I hope that it'll be done by the end of this week because I have quite a few things that I'm doing. Jerry and I went and we purchased yarn for the Prayer Shawl Ministry Saturday at Joann's. It wasn't a really terrific sale. I think it was, what was it, $3.49 for Red Heart. So we got enough to finish off the grant money, so that's, done, taken away. But while I was there, I saw this. So I got it. And I had a 50% off coupon. I think it was $9.99. Yeah, $9.99, so, $5. I figured it was worth it. What can I say? Kind of strange like that. Now, the only other thing I've been working on is the, was it Grandmother's Comfort Shawl? And this is one that is done by Creative Grandma, Glenda. Now, I was crocheting away, blah, 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 blah. Didn't even bother to count how many rows. I was 4 rows over because at row 42 you change what you do to get ready for the border. Oh no, contrary. Jane had to pull out about 3 rows, but I am now down into where I'm ready to start, I think, row 45. It's either 44 or 45. 42, 44. I'm ready to start row 44. It does change it up quite a bit. I decided to quit worrying about the color coordinating it, I was like, I'm just done with that. So that's kind of where we're at there on that part. I don't think I have anything else to show you. Not right now, because prayer shawl is over with. I've been doing things in the house. I have to get a larger storage unit and move that. Things are going well with the house. They do have the retaining wall up. I was up there the second day they started the retaining wall. I went up there the second day mid-afternoon and they had some blocks up and they were the wrong color, so they had to take them down and go get the right color, so it took a little bit longer for the retaining wall. This week they are going to spray the back area there to seed it, grass. And then I had a big decision to make. Big decisions like a bathtub. 1 seat, left or right, or 2 seats in the shower. I'm like, really? I don't care. It doesn't matter. Yeah, those are the big choices, you have to make these days. Hard stuff like that. And got called today. Contractor wanted to ask me, he said, do you really want 8 feet for a front sidewalk? And I said, for a front porch? I said, no. And he said, it's going to take away from the front yard. And I said, you know what? I don't really want that big a porch on the front. And I've told you before, I could care less about a large front yard. I'd rather have a larger backyard and side yard than the front. So we discussed that, came up with a plan, working on that. I think that's about it. And they're working on laying the foundation. He did decide that the front, he wants to bring that down just a little bit more. Even it's still a little too high. So they're doing that today. And I think tomorrow they're going to start laying out, plotting where they're going to put the foundation at. And then they will finish the foundation Thursday and Friday, pouring it, setting it up and pouring it, I think, next Monday is what he said. Because once they get that down, they can't seed the back because they won't be able to get in because of the equipment that'll be back there. So they have to seed this Wednesday. And they had a little bit of a problem getting the seed in. You know, it's 2 years out of COVID and we're still short on just about everything. You know, I mean, and then come to find out one of my favorite restaurants shut down because they don't have enough workers. I mean, nobody wants to work. What is the deal with that? This younger generation, man, they're lazy. But, yeah, so they're running into that. Like I said, they had fellows out there, and it was Amish crew that was working on putting up the retaining wall. And when they were leaving, you know, they'd finished the job Friday. You know, I told them, great. I'd taken them up. I'd made a dump pumpkin cake for a potluck dinner that I went to on Wednesday. So on that Friday, you know, I still had quite a bit of it left. So I knew there were 3 of them there working. So I boxed up 4 servings. Gave 3 of them, you know, to the workers that were working. The boss was a 23-year-old with a little bitty goatee. I was asking him about his beard because, you know, you're supposed to start growing a beard once you get married. He said, that's all I've got so far. He's quite upset about it. And then I asked him, I said, the other 2, they're awful young. Well, yeah, 14 and 16. Well, he just turned 15. 15 and 16, but that's Amish. They start work at it after age 14. They stop going to school. They have to start working. You know, that's that culture. So I was a little shocked at that. But, and they only work about half a day, you know, because of that. So, I was concerned because I didn't want to break any child labor laws. You know, give my new neighbor something to bitch about. Sorry about the language. And, of course, I did find out who it is. It's some folks that have a couple of dogs that they like to let run loose, and they were upset because when they were clearing, you know, doing the logging, of course, the crew that was clearing didn't know there were dogs running loose. And basically we had to tell them, you can't let your dogs run loose. You need to keep them up while we're doing the construction. We're not going to be responsible for what happens or anything that might happen to your dogs. Not only that, but that's the law. I mean, they were letting their dogs run loose. You know, and basically I kind of told them, I said, I don't want your dogs running loose when the house is built either, because I'm not going to clean up their crap. Unless you're going to come over, they need to be leashed or just on your property. So, and I was really hoping not to have to put up a fence. Now I'm thinking I might have to. So, I'm not looking forward to that. I don't want to be an ugly neighbor, but at the same time, I don't want to be picking up after the dogs or worrying about their dogs running loose. And they're boxers. They're two boxers. And you know, most boxers are friendly dogs, but I don't know these dogs. So, anyway, that's where that's at with the house. That's kind of it for now. Shall we get into some what intonation? All right. Idaho man balances guitar on his chin for 1 hour and 35 minutes. An Idaho man said it was a lesson in pain breaking a Guinness World Record for the longest duration balancing a guitar on the chin. You know, there are times I wonder how they come up with these stupid records. You know, is it just something you think of off the top of your head? You know, like, I'm going to balance an apple on my head for 45 days. Come on, people. Anyway, David Rush, who has broken nearly 250 Guinness World Records to promote STEM education, which that's a great program, definitely, previously held the same record and aimed to recapture it by balancing for 1 hour, 12 minutes, and 40 seconds. Rush said he was dismayed to learn the record had already been beaten with a time of 1 hour, 13 minutes, and 25 seconds, invalidating his attempt by just 45 seconds. Rush managed to beat the newest record set by a Spanish man, Christian Roberto Lopez Rodriguez, with a time of 1 hour and 35 minutes. The serial record breaker said he ended the attempt because the pain was too great and I took the guitar off my chin. That was the lesson in pain. I can imagine. This next story, it's a very nice story. What's with the lights blinking? Patriots signed pizza parlor employee from North Dakota. The Patriots, New England Patriots, signed Sebastian Gutierrez, who worked at a pizza parlor in North Dakota, to their practice squad, the team announced. The Patriots signed Gutierrez on Wednesday in a series of roster moves. They also signed offensive lineman Marcus Cannon to their active roster from the practice squad and added quarterback Garrett Gilbert to their practice squad. Gutierrez, 24, played at Minot, I don't know how to pronounce that, State University in Minot, North Dakota. He signed in May as an undrafted rookie free agent with the Denver Broncos, but was released in August. That light's bothering me. The 6'6", 295-pound offensive lineman worked for Uncle Mattio's Pizza Restaurant in Minot while waiting for another opportunity to play football. That's annoying me. Well, never thought in a million years I would have an NFL player working for me, Lawson Leonard said, the owner of the restaurant. Leonard said Gutierrez interviewed with other teams while working at the restaurant. So now he will stop working for me and begin working for Bill Belichick. That's a good guy to work for. Leonard wrote, "Best of luck, Seabass. We'll miss you." Who doesn't love a great game of Tetris? World's largest arcade machine plays a giant version of Tetris. A gaming company in Spain broke a Guinness World Record with the creation of a Tetris arcade machine that stands 16 feet and 1.15 inches tall. Mad Lab Zaragoza, a Spanish company focused on immersive gaming experiences, escape rooms, and VR video games, earned the Guinness World Record for the largest arcade with its massive Tetris machine, which measures 6 feet and 5.99 inches wide and 3 feet and 7.82 inches deep. The giant Tetris machine is now housed at Mad Lab's storefront at the La Torre Outlet Shopping Center in Zaragoza. Visitors can play the machine for the price of about $5 per play. The machine took the record from Illinois man Jason Camberis, whose 14-foot, 5.6-inch game machine was awarded the title in March 2015. Fat Bear Week. Did you know there was such a thing? Why can't there be a Fat Woman Week? You know. Fat Bear Week celebrates the bulky bruins of Alaska. Katmai National Park and Preserve's annual Fat Bear Week has arrived, with fans of bulky bruins being called upon to vote for their favorite of the park's hibernation preparing residents. Fat Bear fans can browse the competitors' words are hard on the Alaska Park's Flickr page and cast their votes at fatbearweek.com each day from noon to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to choose the winning bear in a March Madness-style bracket competition. Fat Bear Week is a celebration of success and survival. It is a way to celebrate the resilience, adaptability, and strength of Katmai's brown bears, the park said on its website. The annual event started as Fat Bear Tuesday in 2014 and expanded into a week-long Fat Bear Week tournament in 2015. The light-hearted competition celebrates Katmai's brown bears as they pack on pounds in preparation for their winter hibernation. Stop it. I don't know if you saw this video. This video is terrifying to watch. So I'm going to give you a warning. I do provide the link to the news story where the ring video is at. It's basically a woman who walked out and found a buck outside her back door, and her dog got loose and she wanted to protect her dog, and while she was doing it, she got gored. So, Evanston woman recovering in hospital after being gored by buck. A woman in Evanston is hospitalized after she was gored by a buck just outside her back door Thursday. The buck also jabbed her husband while he jumped in to help. It was a real shock for a neighborhood that is used to seeing plenty of deer. Mid-morning on Thursday, Wanda Kaynor stepped outside to take her husband Daniel to an appointment. There was this buck sitting there, just laying there, he said. Wanda Kaynor was startled, and so was the couple's dog. The dog went after the buck. Of course, the buck didn't like that, so he went after him with his antlers and shoved him underneath the car, Daniel Kaynor said. That's when his wife fought back. She threw her hat at that thing, and of course it came after her. The 4-point buck thrust its antlers into Wanda Kaynor, goring her with 7 puncture wounds. The buck knocked her to the ground, crushing a vertebra in her back. That's when her husband came outside and saw what was going on. I grabbed him by the antlers, trying to pull him off, but Daniel also got punctured by the antler along his waistline doing that. It happened so fast. Wanda Kaynor, badly hurt, got out of the way. A UPS driver, thank God for this man or woman. A UPS driver had just delivered a package across the street, so he lifted the woman into a car and a neighbor drove her to the hospital. We just got instantaneously all of his help, Daniel Kaynor said. She'll be there several days and likely spend a couple of weeks at a rehab center, her husband said. After the attack, the buck wandered around their front yard and hung out in the shade for a couple of hours. A relative notified Wyoming Fish and Game, and a wildlife officer euthanized the buck. Wildlife officers do that after an animal has a violent encounter with humans. So it's not a bad thing. And since this animal was around humans and in the neighborhood, I'm sure if they had not, it probably would have done the same thing more than once to someone else, possibly a child playing outside. So, Daniel Kaynor said his wife is traumatized. Having a buck stomp on you on the ground. I was pretty traumatized last night myself, he said. Wild animals are wild animals, he said, and the caners see them a little bit differently today. Can you imagine why they would see them differently? I think she's going to check that door when she comes out for sure, he said. No doubt she will. And it's not just wild animals. You never know when an animal is going to attack. I have a friend. She is a friend that I met through, my husband was the advisor for a science club when she was going to the university he teaches at. And so I met her then. But she now has, I think, a 5-year-old going on 6 years old, Melody. And Melody was attacked by a neighbor's pit bull yesterday. But luckily the hospital sent her directly to Geisinger in Danville so that she could get treated properly by a plastic surgeon. But now that child is going to have trauma around dogs. You know, and a lot of people, they don't do well after that. All right, that is it for today. Are you ready for a little bit of what in tarnation? I know I am. By his wounds he was pierced for our transgressions. He was crushed for our iniquities. The punishment that brought us peace was on him, and by his wounds we are healed. That comes from Isaiah 53:5. I can't believe you did that for me. I can't. Seldom do we feel more loved when someone has gone through something, suffered for us. How much then must Jesus love us? No amount of suffering can truly be a fair exchange for all the world's sin. Yet his pain was essential. Why? So we would feel the weight of it. The weight of our sin. And the weight of his great, great love. How can you accept the healing God brings with his precious, perfect love? And sometimes a lot of folks have trouble accepting that. I am going to tell you, and I've told you before, that I did die. I had an endoscopy back in 2013, and at that time I stopped breathing and my heart stopped. Now, I remember it vividly. I visited heaven, and I got to see my family members that were there, and I was about to meet my granddaughter who had been stillborn. But I distinctly heard God tell me, you can't stay, it's not your time. But I am going to tell you this about heaven. When we read the description in Revelations, that cannot begin to describe the beauty of heaven. The colors are alive. I mean, that is the best way I can describe it. They are so vivid and so alive. But the first thing you feel is the overwhelming amount of love surrounding you when you pass into this heavenly world. That is the best way I can describe it. And when I felt them shock me, bring me back, and they were yelling at me, come back to us, Jane. That's it. Take a deep breath. Breathe, breathe. Take another deep breath. The doctor had asked me afterwards if I remembered what happened. I told him, yes, I do, vividly. But I just wanted one more second. That is how beautiful heaven is, and the amount of love that surrounds you. So I hope that most of you know Jesus Christ as a personal Savior. And if you don't, I hope you will take a chance and get to learn about Him and the gift He has given all of us for eternal life. Alright, guys. Love one another, love yourself, be kind to one another, and get out there and see this big, beautiful world we live in. Because it's amazing. But heaven's even more amazing. See you guys soon. Bye.